Welcome back to the analyst desk. Once again, my name is DJ, joined by Mitchell and Mitch. We just watched a 24-minute destruction of WyoBoomers put on by our number one seed, Glaive Amethyst, here in game number one. What a performance that was from them. And we had some concerns. I hadn't seen them in 3 weeks. How are they going to come out? That is a convincing answer to any doubters about their skill, about their preparation. They are looking good, and I am very worried about WyoBoomers in this series.
Yeah, I'm incredibly worried as well, especially in the top lane. Papa, he did have the R5 counter pick into the Kled. Malphite. It's supposed to be an okay matchup for him. You built some armor. You're able to just basically not die to the Kled at all. But he was down so much CS. He got first blooded. He was at 9 CS at 6.5 minutes. I mean, that's not what you want to see from one of your big engaged tanks that has to hold down the side lane against the Kled. So that was unfortunate.
Yeah, really, really rough start. And, it was mostly in the 1v1. A little bit of attention came from Baby Powder to really tilt that matchup after the teleport was expended. But really all over the map, just early game advantages for Glaive Amethyst. 2 Drakes were picked up by the side of WyoBoomers, but it looked like Glaive was very happy to give them up, and they just got gold everywhere on the map outside of the Drake. Baby Powder stealing away camps, members farming up, pushing plates, and all of that gold really became telling in those mid-game fights when they started to pull away. We saw some angles for WyoBoomers to try to turn around, particularly that mid lane fight where we had a 3-man wombo combo into multiple kills. But by the time that happened, they were already so far down on gold, 6 to 8K, and that was at like 17 minutes.
Yeah, that was super early on the massive gold deficit. I mean, as you're saying, you can see how the Wyo comp works, right? They all just funnel in and one-shot people before they get their abilities off. Wyo definitely practiced this, to try and play this style. I mean, it's a game one sort of just, we're just throwing you a loose wrench. See how you guys react. We never see Trinity on Galio. Something about that comp, about that early game gold, though, I mean, besides the 1v1s and the 2v2s, was the Nocturne, right? The Nocturne early farming was so much slower than Lilia, as expected. Nocturne is not a champion, really, until level 6. And I really felt like if the Nocturne isn't one-shotting people, it's going to be really hard for him to dive in and actually make a big difference, right? And if they had more damage on Nocturne, I think this game could have looked a lot more different.
Yeah, I do think it could have been a lot different in that turnaround had they had more damage, but you got to have gold to have that damage. You got to be able to turn that around. So we will see if there are adjustments from WyoBoomers in this game too. And Mitch, we are about to get into draft, so I want to ask you, what do you want to see from them to shift this around? Because I think we both agree that we need to see a change. We need to see a little bit more early game dynamism from this WyoBoomers side if they want to stick around with the big boys here on Glaive Amethyst.
Yeah, what I want to see is just stronger winning lanes and playing around Palm Goat, right? The big problem was Malphite being so far down in lane. Galio is a losing lane into Tristana. The bot lane, I mean, yes, they were in a sense winning against the Seraphine Rel, but it's Seraphine Rel. Seraphine Rel doesn't care if they're losing lane. Seraphine Rel doesn't care if they're down 15, 20, 30 CS. So I just want to see some winning lanes, some just aggressiveness from Wyo that they can get some gold in their pockets early game and have Palm Goat carry you in the late game.
Yeah, so we do want to see a little more focus around that big carry here in Palm Goat for the draft. He got the Jinx in game number 1, got some kills on it, but just seemed a little disjointed from the rest of the composition. And really, that was not the sort of the point of the composition, as Mitchell has put it multiple times. But we'll see what their priority is in draft. We see the Zoe and the Yone taken away in the first 2 bans. Those are favorites of POS2. And the Kled, there's a little bit of an adjustment. They do not want Clonk back on that Kled. So property rights have been respected, Mr. Clonk Song. They're taking away your champion.
Hecarim.
And the Hecarim is up and will be first picked here.
Yeah, that is fascinating. First time we were going to see Hecarim go through a draft in quite a while. Has been considered OP for weeks now in pro play, in amateur play. So we'll see. It did just get a small nerf, about 10% off on the max movement speed of a Z. I don't think it's that big of a nerf, so I do think that taking that first pick, just going with the Hecarim, is going to be massive. Picking a Felios into Hecarim.
He won?
Wow. What? This
Or
is a
sorry, R1.
fascinating. This is a fascinating duo pick. Aphelios Thresh into Hecarim. Thresh doesn't actually do much to disengage against a Hecarim. Hecarim is actually Aphelios' worst nightmare. You just run at him and click him, and he can't do anything about it. I'm really questioning what Glaive is doing here. Maybe they're flexing, or maybe they know something we don't.
Yeah, maybe they do know something we don't. We'll have to find out. But clearly, this was prepared because we both know that Baby Powder plays a ton of Hecarim. It was his most played champion throughout the regular season. Obviously, the champion has been busted. The nerf probably not enough to take him out of priority as a Morgana is going to come in here. That's an interesting pickup. We did see a very interesting bot lane from WyoBoomers in game number 2 against Lotus. They went Zyra and Varus for a poke lane into Alistair's Caitlyn to great success. But I am still looking at this bottom lane.
Yep.
You know, clearly they give up. Yeah, there's that more Caitlyn. So wow, we're going to see a full pushing lane come in here against this Aphelios Thresh. Lilia will be locked in. The draft now speeding up. So I want to ask you kind of what you think of these first 2 picks, because clearly to my eyes, this looks like Glaive was ready to give up this Hecarim, knowing that they were going to force the pick because if it came to them, I imagine Baby Powder was picking it up. So they had to be ready for this. What do you think of their response to these to this pick? And then what do you think about the aggressive lane that's come out here from WyoBoomers for Palm Goat?
I definitely think with the Hecarim, it's much easier for Wyo to just pull off a just kill the Aphelios sort of strategy. Caitlyn Morgana, an incredibly powerful lane, but so is Aphelios Thresh. I know that Thresh does have the the matchup where it gets black shielded all of your hooks and all your CC, but I've talked to some high level ADCs like Alistair and Kiwi, who do say that Morg is actually not favored in a Thresh, and there are certain breakpoints where Thresh can break the shield of Morgana easily. But I'm not sure how this will play out today. I personally like the Wyo comp because of Hecarim. Lilia, of course, is a great counterpick into the Hecarim. We're not going to see the Udyr, which is the LCS classic, but Lilia is right up there. Going to be a bit. I think Glaive's comp is just harder to pull off, right? Aphelios, very difficult champion to play. Aphelios Thresh, a very complicated lane, and Lilia, just a higher skill cap champion compared to Hecarim.
Yeah, definitely is a higher skill necessity requirement here for Glaive Amethyst. Of course, we know a lot of these players have the skill to pull this off. And as we've been talking about, this might be a big test for Vark, who, again, has gone disrespected in the All-Pro selections, was on that Seraphine in game number 1. This is a very different look from a supportive Seraphine on a carry like Aphelios. The Orianna will be the pickup here on R4 for POS2. That is, excellent champion, very safe mid blind pick there at R4, something we see quite a bit. So going to play it fairly standard here, our Glaive. Now WyoBoomer is going to look to finish off their draft. What will they go for here in the mid and top lane? We do already see a lot of priority put on Palm Goat. So I would expect some safety and defense for him. Volibear looks like it might be the selection to add to the siege capability that already comes from a Caitlyn. Let's see what they do round it out with here.
Yeah, Volibear is an interesting pick. Obviously, a very strong laner and champion in general, but doesn't exactly have a good way into the backline, right? It is going to be Hecarim with the very easy way, but Volibear very easily gets kited, gets flayed away by Thresh, gets slowed by Orianna. Lilia can run circles around him. So unless Volibear has flash or a nice flank, he's going to struggle to get in. Veigar for the mid lane is going to come up now. This is an interesting pick.
Okay, so that is a bit of a shakeup. The Veigar here going to come out in mid lane into the Orianna for Trinity. Definitely is a carry champion and offers a lot of zone control. So looks to me to be a bit of a siege heavy comp here, Mitchell, as we'll see the final pick. Oh boy,
Wukong.
That could be. Let's see. Okay, no, they're going to
GP
at the last moment. So the Wukong could have been a very dive heavy champion. Instead, they will give Clonk Zonk the gangplank, and you're looking at Glaive's comp, and this looks to be a pretty bottom lane focused composition to me, Mitchell.
Yeah, it definitely is. The Gangplank is going to ulti bot lane, is going to scale very nicely into the Volibear. The Volibear is pretty much just going to get poked out. And honestly, I think if Glaive plays their comp correctly, they do have just more tools to kite and disengage and avoid the engage from WyoBoomers. But then again, WyoBoomers comp is just easier to play, right? They just get to run in and click people, honestly. Glaive's comp is very complicated, but I do think if they execute it better, it will come out ahead. They have the range, they have the scaling, they have basically the global setup, they have pretty much just harder farmers. Their champions farm better.
Yeah, their champions will get extremely strong later in the game. Of course, we do have a couple scaling options here on the Boomers side as well. The Caitlyn is sort of a 5 to 6 item eventuality and is very threatening in the early game. Veigar can scale infinitely in the hands of Trinity. And to my eyes, looks to be a comp that is focused here on sieging and set up around objectives. If you get to a Dragon Pit or a Baron Pit first, set up a line of Caitlyn traps, you have the cage available. Like, how do people walk into you? How do people defend turrets against the zone control, against the Volibear? That looks to be what they want to do in my eyes, but it does require them to get to these objectives early, to have the priority to get there. And their bottom lane will have priority. I'm not sure if their mid lane will. I don't think it will early on for sure. Their top lane, probably not either.
I think Volibear will have prio on Gangplank early. I mean, Volibear just kind of has to shove and reset waves and hope he doesn't get frozen on by the Gangplank. But yeah, I think the same can be said for Glaive's comp, though. If Glaive gets to sit on the objectives with GP barrels set up, you have to walk into an Orianna, Lilia, Thresh. It can be very complicated for Wyo to engage. But I do think the Hecarim Morgana combo for flanks is going to be very, very important for Glaive to watch out for, because that's the combo I think that they're going to be looking for, right? Hecarim Morgana ignores the CC, jumps in onto the Aphelios, onto the GP and Orianna, and just wreaks havoc and destroys them, while Volibear is the setup CC. Both these comps, I think, very, very powerful. They know what they're doing. I'm just happy that Trinity is on more of a comfort style. He's got the late game scaling mage. If he can land his skill shots, he's going to be able to carry this game.
Yeah, so we have seen the draft. We see a little more comfort coming out for Trinity, for Palm Goat, a little more focus on the carries from WyoBoomers. So, you've talked a little bit about some of the strengths and weaknesses here. Walk me through which composition you favor and how you think this game is going to play out, Mitchell.
Yes. I do think that Glaive Amethyst has the skill to execute this comp. I've seen it before to an extent, and I do think their comp is better if they have the players to be able to utilize it. So I'm going Glaive Amethyst.
You heard it here from Mitchell. Going to favor Glaive Amethyst drafts once again. Requires a little bit of execution, but we've already seen what these Glaive players can do in game number 1. Just dominant throughout the regular season, just dominant. And it's going to require a big change of pace here from WyoBoomers to turn this one around, to turn the tide of the series. They have given some comfort, some power back to their big carry members. Can Trinity and Palm Goat find the resources, find the place to turn this one around and get their first win in this best of 5 series? We'll find out after this spectator delay break, when me and Necrox will join you back on the Rift for game number 2. Don't touch that channel button.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Summoner's Rift once again. WyoBoomers taking on Glaive Amethyst here in the Heavy League Semifinals. Game 1, a schlacken from your true Amethyst squad, and WyoBoomers really need to bring things back now, as we are through and through. Battle lines have been drawn. The only interesting point, really, Trivia Boy gonna hang out in this brush, but no problem. DJ, I know you got a little bit of a sneak peek at the draft. My true first time looking at it, and man, oh boy, we got Aphelios. That makes my heart so happy.
Yeah, I know you're a bit of an. I know you are a bit of an Aphelios fanboy, my friend. Yeah, why don't you talk to me about how this Aphelios is going to operate in this lane?
Yeah, he's not. So I'll let you know. Aphelios has two problems: outrange and getting just Oban, right? And Hecker and Bully are the latter, and Veigar, Morgana, Caitlyn are the former. So 5 problems here for Aphelios to deal with. I'm really curious how Vark is going to handle this game. Does have the cleanse to try to avoid if he does get bound in the lane or in a team fight getting feared or something like that. But it's Vark, right? This AD carry can pull out a lot. Oh, wow. You're right. It's not spotted. The invade is just going through. I thought they were on a ward because of the way Vark and Trivia were playing, but no, that is completely out of vision.
Yeah, that's unspotted. So this blue buff's going to be taken away by Rosero. This is really nice stuff from him. Picking up maybe on the enemy's pathing here as Baby Pout on his Raptors. He's likely going to come back and find his blue buff gone, as Trivia Boy did set up in the bush, so that will give his bottom lane push. That is typically why you actually set up in that bush.
He's going Raptors. He's going to the enemy Raptors. So
what?
He's going to take... So this Lilia pathing is relatively common, just heading straight for those Raptors and taking away, because Lilia is so efficient at doing it. But the question is, where did he head afterward? And now he's heading into his bot side jungle, and will walk into an empty room here. This is going to be a little bit awkward, and the question mark thing is coming through. He's like, wait a minute. I've been bamboozled, and actually might see Rosero on the way out, but no, he had no clue. And now it's a race to blue buff, but instead it's Trivia Boy and Vark. They're gonna get ganked, and Trivia Boy has no flash, cannot get away. First blood to Palm Goat. Vark forced a flash as well, and that is jungle difference, my friend. Textbook from Rosero.
Yeah, what a start here from WyoBoomers. Vark,
Vark back up. Vark may just go down. The flash auto. Vark is dead. Palm Goat 2 kills. Only 3 minutes in.
Wow, this is beautiful. From the side of WyoBoomers, we said it. They're gonna need to change things because game 1 really not very close. They were dominated. And what a start here from Rosero. He obviously has been doing some scouting on the enemy jungle. They pick up on some of the tendencies. They find a gap in vision to take away the full bottom side camp here. All 3 bottom side camps for Baby Powder. He takes a bit of an awkward path, comes back into his jungle and sees, oh, hey, everything I have is gone. He's literally taken 3 camps away, and he turns that right around into a bottom lane gank. Palm Goat and Birdman did a nice job holding off the push that was earned by Vark and Trivia Boy at level 1. They freeze the wave, and I think because of the pings and the timing from Baby Powder, the comms were probably communicating that Rosero was already in his bottom side jungle. Instead, he was just finishing up and was on the way to completely change the outcome of this bot lane, which he does so successfully. First the kill in the Trivia Boy, then the mistake in the overstay by Vark gets him killed as well, and it's Palm Goat, the main carry, the player that WyoBoomers needs to step up, needs to be the carry, already 2-0 on this Caitlyn.
And I'm getting flashbacks to Mitch on the analyst desk telling us that Hecarim is Aphelios' worst nightmare. Not only is Rosero off to a nice start, so we'll have that threat, but quite literally, Vark's worst nightmare, the gank and bot side, will set this Aphelios behind significantly against a 2-0 Caitlyn Bird. Trying to step up to hit that bind, will only find it onto the Guardian Thresh, and that's actually an interesting point as well. The one thing I'm not sure if you guys got to mention, but the Thresh is actually nerfed as well. The shielding down by 40, and that bind forces a cleanse immediately out of Vark. That just goes to show you how scary this 2v2 lane is.
Yeah, I mean, it's the classic Caitlyn CC trap combo there. Whoever it is, Lux, Morgana, doesn't matter. You get CC'd up, you're likely to not be alive by the time you're out of the CC. So Vark taking no chances, already down the kill, and a lot of gold to Palm Goat. He will burn the cleanse, and with the wave pushing in with them very, very far behind here, this is a free first Drake for WyoBoomers, for Cero and his bottom lane, making it happen here. These three members accelerating the pace for WyoBoomers, and they are off to a much better early game start now than they were in game number 1.
And that seemed like practice, just straight up knowing what Baby Powder wants to do on the Lilia, trying to get Raptors to Raptors, and he gets punished hard for it. Now you can see that Rosero is still a little bit behind on the Hecarim, just trying to clear out his top side now. So we'll be just roughly even with the Lilia. It's going to be a race to that top grab, and see if Rosero can get there in time to contest that one. But it's a really, really good start here for the side of WyoBoomers. And we were talking about how we wanted to see some sort of play, some sort of change for them, and this is what they've come up with. And so far, it's worked out really well. The question is, can they keep up the performance? Can they keep up this tempo and really put the pressure on Glaive Amethyst? That's a hook gonna land. Black Shield will deny any further entrance, though.
Yeah, I think that Black Shield just a little bit late there from Birdman, but he is fortunate that it was across the wall, not really a good angle for follow-up to come through. And the lane will just kind of sit here. We'll give some credit to the Glaive bottom lane. They've managed to set up a freeze, and you can see, despite already going down, despite the pressure coming out, Vark is actually ahead on CS. So he's still very far down in gold because of the 2 kills, 600 gold or so. As Clonk getting in trouble here.
Clonk not going to be turning off the turret, though. There's a cannon barrage. It's coming down, but Cronk is low. Papa's going to die. He missed the AoE ulti on the turret, and it doesn't get shut off. 1 for 1 in top side. And a 2v1 scenario, you'll take those.
Yeah, you will take those for Clonk Zonk. It costs him the flash and his ulti, but well worth it to trade the kill back. And now we got junglers fighting here, but the TP's in for Clonk.
He's coming back in. Rosero trying to get away. Will proceed back to the safety of his own jungle. Another binding goes wide there on bot side, but still fair 1 for 1. Sheen picked up now for Clonk to make those parlays hurt even more. And really the pathing here from Baby Powder has kept him up somehow in farm. The gank from Rosero actually kept him behind the pace of the Lilia. So really good stuff here from Baby Powder, adapting to the situation and really overcoming that early game pressure that Rosero was putting on, and now is a substantial 10 CS lead.
Yeah, Rosero did have to stick around a little bit longer in that lane to set up the second kill on Vark, which put him a little bit behind, but really Baby Powder has just outpathed him since then, and now he wants to set up a dive, but you can see Glaive Amethyst knows what the plan is. They know that WyoBoomers want to set up Palm Goat on this Caitlyn. They see that wave pushing in, and they say, I got 2 members headed down towards that bottom lane turret to cover the dive, and it will not come off. So nobody does die, but it's a very nice play from Glaive Amethyst, nevertheless sniffing out the plan from WyoBoomers and keeping their bottom lane alive and scaling up. As we mentioned on the analyst desk, this comp is just going to scale exceptionally well. The Orianna, the Aphelios, the Gangplank, all just going to be better and better with more items. So the longer they can stay alive, the more likely it is they get to a late game scaling win condition here on Glaive Amethyst.
Yeah, and even the Thresh here is going to scale incredibly well, and that sounds a little awkward to say, but the shielding Thresh provides that utility in a late game that a support typically can, right? It's just that frontline beefy tank, but instead Trivia Boy gonna offer a lot of protection to Vark this time. Not even the passage, but the pure Locket, Lantern, Guardian shields will come in so much use, especially with the dive that Papa and Rosero are looking to put on. But that's all in the late game. That's way later in the future when we get items and when we actually get fun. For now, we still have to talk about jungle pathing and things of that nature, sadly. Do though have a dragon coming up in 45 seconds. Will be the second of the game. Recalls coming through for just about everyone for WyoBoomers. These timings are so impeccable. Racing to this dragon for setup, and I'm going to take WyoBoomers if we want to get this fight rolling early on. They've got a full Mythic on Palm Goat right now.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a big difference here. And I think the second that Glaive see that, they're probably going to want to bail out of this setup because that item just going to be so good for Palm Goat. You know, super, super strong here. Again, there's not a ton of tanks in the enemy composition, so doesn't need to go Kraken Slayer. Instead, we'll just prioritize, you know, the combo potential and the mobility to stay out of CC. And that will just make this fight so very hard for Glaive. They get the crab. They've got a lot of vision set up, but I don't think they want any part of this. POS just trying to clear out a ward before he goes back.
POS got his dancing shoes on. Going to be put in the cage for now. We'll take a little bit of damage, but really nothing to worry about. We'll chug a pot and be just healthy enough. But here you go. Bracero's looking for the gank nice and early on. The flash out of POS 2. That's a 5-minute cooldown. And with a dragon online now, we'll have no flash at all to save himself come team fight time. See if they want to step up for this one. Vark and Trivia Boy looking to do fire from Vark flashing over the wall. That's the beginning of the fight. Trivia Boy having to flash as well. Binding as well. Flash now from Birdman to avoid the death sentence. Baby Powder going in with a 2-man lilting lullaby flash. Can he get anything though? No, the follow-up's not there. The flashes had been burned and now they have nothing, DJ, to fight. They are 4 summoners down for basically nothing, and they're gonna have to give this one up.
Yeah, they're definitely gonna have to give this one up. Vigar ult is still up, Palm Goat's ulti still up, and of course the Gale Force still online. So with nothing remaining, just the Orion ulti, they will just back out of that Dragon Pit. It will go over to Rosero, and WyoBoomers have done very, very well for themselves. This is a different story than game number 1. It could be a Palm Goat story as they are staying pretty close in the early game. A Birdman about to go down.
That was a lot of damage from Bark, to be honest. I did not expect that. He just straight up killed Birdman, and with no flash on the Morgana, easy pickings there. The sentence just not able to connect, and Bark is now on the board officially. 9 CS until that cull is completed. One more wave. If he does pick all of these, we'll be able to complete that one. Nice bit of gold in his pocket, and Lantern now back just barely, not going to be able to get the cull on the base. Feels a little sad, but still going to be able to complete the Mythic, I'm sure, if not just opt for the full boots. With that fight though, DJ, it is now a significant dragon advantage to WyoBoomers. This is where we were at last game, minus the slight larger gold lead that Glaive Amethyst did have, but I'm still feeling confident for Wyo to win this game. Palm Goat 2-0 still is a massive threat.
Yeah, they have a little bit of a better composition as well. You know, is a good sieging composition. If they get set up on Drakes, like we talked about, it will be very hard for Glaive Amethyst to enter the area without taking a ton of damage. And now Klonka, you better get your running shoes on, buddy.
Trying to flash away. The turret's been shut off this time. They do not mess it up twice in a row. But Baby Powder has now arrived with a 2-man shockwave to boot. POS2 is going to pick up the first. Maybe looking for the second as well. Double kill to the Oriana like clockwork, baby. POS2 makes it happen.
I do not spy with my little eye a teleport available on Mr. Trinity there in the mid lane. So WyoBoomers may be feeling themselves a little bit after surviving the early game much better than they did in game number 1. Get a little too frisky in the top lane. They go in on Klonk, who has all of that ability to escape CC. He pops the flash, he pops the orange, buys some time for his team, and with the TP advantage, with the jungler in the area, more members show up for Glaive than can show up for WyoBoomers. They turn that one around. They get 2 kills for 1 and shut down the play on the other side of the map. I do like what they're doing here. Trinity finds some time to head down to bottom lane. Will give priority to Palm Goat, who looks like just going to take down this tier 1 turret, but Birdman might lose his life for it.
Trinity dropped the nuke on or excuse me, Trinity gets nuked. Is now Vark trying to kite away from Rosero, but the Hecarim has a lot of damage. Just flay back in. Vark is gonna go down. Rosero's found another kill. Baby Powder trades this one back. 1-4-1 turret is dropped, and now Baby Powder stuck between a pony and a bear. Which one is gonna die to? But no, actually, the kill in Rosero. Hot feet from Baby Powder, double kill. Weren't prepared for the Lilia damage, and Glaive Amethyst somehow come away with a better end of that fight.
Yeah, they do it again. It just takes a little bit too long. Once again, in the setup for WyoBoomers, they maybe go a little bit too far this time as well, trying to create space for Palmgut to take down the turret. Like, you didn't really need to go all that way to do it. He was already set up with the traps, could have easily sieged it down. Instead, they try to just pressure everyone away. And when the hook lands from Trivia Boy, they say, okay, we can probably still stick around. We've got TP on Papa. We'll be okay. But so many members just commit to that bottom side play for Glaive Amethyst that they're able to get something out of it. The turret doesn't go down fast enough and does contribute to the fight as well. So despite Vark dying, they get back a lot of the kills. And now 2-0-4 on this Lilia is Baby Powder. Clonk will likely get out of this. Again, there's no Dark Binding, so we'll take a good chunk as the bottom lane is rotating up to the top side for WyoBoomers. With that Rift Herald available, you can see they are already jumping on it. I like the macro turnaround play here from Wyo after losing out on the bot side team fight, but taking the turret, they immediately take that pressure bot lane, they move it top to get themselves another objective.
You're gonna grab Shirley and indeed, my friend, and Baby Powder actually opting for the Moonstone build this game. Gonna provide a little bit of healing to Vark, and that really signals that this composition is built around the two carries. POS2 has the Leandris, but the real one here is Vark on the Aphelios. That backline hyper carry threat really needs to come online. Only has an item. I'm not sure you could fight this dragon if you are the Aphelios. The rest of your team feels comfortable, sure, but Vark cannot do the DPS. Doesn't have the gun combo to do so either. Can get a nice root with the ulti. The Gravitum is there. Twirl Seed finds two. Gravitum finds one. Could be a nice engage angle, but instead they'll wait patiently. Dragon available. Watch that shockwave. POS2 could do massive damage to the backline.
I do want to
they go immediately, and they find it, and Trinity is going to go down. The first kill of the fight, and this is a massacre. Vark has found one, make it two, and POS2 picks up a double as well. What a swift decision there. Just as I say, the shockwave is key. They pull the trigger, and good night, WyoBoomers. Glaive Amethyst show you exactly why they're the first team seed. They don't need a boom in early game. All they need is one team fight to put you down.
Yeah, I mean, good night, Moon. Good night, Hope. Good night, Dreams. Good night, Wyoming. Like, good night, everything. Like, that was just devastation coming through from Glaive Amethyst. You know, Mitchell mentioned it too on the analyst desk that, you know, it's a great siege comp for WyoBoomers. Really, really hard to walk into an area if they've got setup in that area. But the same can be said for the composition here on the side of Glaive Amethyst. They've got that root on the Aphelios, great for setup. They've got the Lilia, which can sleep you. They've got the Shockwave to follow up. The barrels coming in from the Gangplank piloted by Clonk. And you saw that all come together as they just sort of wait. Somebody clicks the button, says hello, you know, we're going, and it just all comes together for Glaive. Every ulti, every CC just piles on top of itself, and by the time WyoBoomers can blink, their carries are dead, and they are truly well and buried in their slumber. 5-4 ace. The Drake goes over to Glaive Amethyst once again. And once again, it is around that third Drake, Necrox, that Glaive turn on the Jets, turn the game around, and blow it open. It's another 6K gold lead here at 19 minutes. Took a little bit longer, was a little bit better of an early game from WyoBoomers, but we have arrived at the same eventuality.
They are inevitable and look to put this series to bed. They got one more game after this one, assuming they pick it up, but you could only imagine that it goes that way. Vark looks strong, but man, Glaive Amethyst is in totality just looks so good. Clean decisions and excellent macro as well means this game is just so difficult for them. Vark actually maybe a little bit caught out here, looking for a solo kill on Palm Goat. One more auto, but it's not there. Somehow Vark finds it though. He's been stunned. The cleanse can't get him to safety. Two-man Shockwave. Baby Powder dealing with a threat of his own in the back end of the fight. Papa looking to chase down. A bite out of the back of Bambi. Shut down on over to Papa. There goes the Cannon Barrage, slowing down Rosero's approach. Trivia Boy and POS2 on the run. It's a winning fight for Wyo so far. Can they find more though? No. Trivia Boy and POS2 find themselves to safety. 2-for-1 fight. Palm Goat sure goes down, but they find Vark and Baby Powder.
Yeah, and that was just a straight bait from WyoBoomers, and Vark probably feeling himself a little bit after that dragon fight, just walks right into it. I mean, how many times have we seen that on like a B1 Aphelios? I remember when Caps was playing AD carry for G2, he would get caught out in that exact spot right by the enemy Raptor pit so often while he was playing with the Thresh, thinking he had cover, and it happens once again. The Hecarim comes in from behind, puts a ward right onto the Lantern, and suddenly all your protection that you thought you had is gone. Vark, though, does turn it around. He is very strong. Chunk's palm goes out. I think it's the red buff tick that ends up killing him at the end of the day. So a little unfortunate that Palm Goat does fall. They get Vark in return, but again, they're so far behind on gold that they just lose out around the map, even though they go even or ahead on the fight. Klonk was just pushing in topside. He got the tier 1 turret, he got the tier 2 turret, and has just injected himself with more gold. So despite the positive play killing Vark, they end up further down on gold than they started.
Yeah, and that, sure, the lifeline raft got popped there for Vark, but he's got a Mikhail's now from Trivia. Every bit of help that could come his way is there. He's got the Cannon Barrage to slow down the approach. He's got the healing and the shock wave as well from the jungle mid duo. And now he's got the Thresh Mikhail's as well. Vark truly set up for success here, but maybe caught out now. Trivia Boy has to flash over the wall. Will do so successfully. Klonk looking for a 1v1 that I'm pretty sure he does not win. Having to flash away. Now has to kite away from the Holy Bear. Papa going to be slowed up. Just barely Kronk able to survive, but having to burn the flash never feels good. POS has picked up a Banshees meanwhile. We'll be able to walk out of the cage just in time. 30 seconds on the Dragon.
Yeah, the problem here with this Drake is they really need to bide their time for Rosero's ulti. Use it on a support. He did get a higher cooldown ability with the flash, but it is just a support flash. The more notable flash that is down is now Klonk's. He does have TP and the ulti available to impact this fight, but they will need Rosero's ulti if they want to win any sort of fight, and it is not up for this Drake. So I do think they just have to give this one up, because if you can't get Rosero in onto Vark in the backline, you're just not going to win the fight. And WyoBoomers recognize that. They back off. Trinity going to look for a cheeky steal here.
Gonna get it. Oh, Trinity somehow steals it away with a Vagar Q. The man has the calculator in his pocket, and that's big. It might seem small, but all of a sudden, WyoBoomers set on Soul Point, but no way they actually go for this one. If they just have red white, but no, they're just fainting a Baron here. There goes the far side. Now, Wyo, no, they're not on this one. Still operating from behind here, but Trinity coming up big with a Dragon Steel.
Yeah, that was so big. That's insanely big. That offers a win condition to WyoBoomers there. You lose that Drake, it's 2-2. You know, they're just as close to a Drake soul as you are. And again, we've heard it from me, from Mitchell, like, if you can execute this comp, Glaive Amethyst comp probably just scales better. Like, these champions are so strong in the late game, and we know they can execute it. We have literally seen them execute it in this game. So you're just running out of time here, as Papa Francesco might just get run down. Oh my god.
Getting kited, already been shockwaved, and this is a Volleybear's worst nightmare, but we'll be able to get away. The Turbo Chem tank offering the speed. Sterix had been popped as well, mitigating a little bit of that damage. POS2 not able to clean that one up, even with a 10 stacked book. Won't clean up the kill, and again, Baby Powder gonna go fishing here, trying to find something, but Glaive Amethyst still feel in control. They still feel they have this game in their belt, and it appears to be so. They have control over the river, they have vision control, they have gold, and even a kill lead, so everything going their way. But WyoBoomers still clinging on to hope here. That Dragon Soul in 3 minutes is calling their name.
Yeah, that is the hope again, because they didn't really have a win condition before that Drake if they lost out on it. Glaive could just take this slow. That's why they're not, in any rush to hop onto this Baron despite having control, because why flip over Baron? If you spend 6 minutes doing nothing, you just get stronger. Like, that's how this will go for this composition. So they're in no rush. They don't want to take 50-50s. They don't want to take 60-40s. They want like 80-20, 90-10 here on this Baron. Really one of the last places that the game can really be flipped. But again, because of that Dragon Steel, there is one more place that the game can be flipped now on at least 2 more occasions. That is on this Drake, thanks to Trinity coming up with that clutch steal over Baby Powder, who is one of the best players here on Glaive. Had Smite available, just didn't make it happen, and has given WyoBoomers away into this game. Wow.
Looking for the engage with the Moonlight Vigil, but Palm goes taken down to half, and that's the go button onto the Baron, but they're not retreating. WyoBoomers are not afraid of this fight. Papa's going to TP in as well, but that's all they were looking for. They just needed a TP. There's the cage from Trinity, but the flash is away. The onslaught of shadows onto the backline. Dark's a little bit of trouble. He's going to be feared for now. The cannon barrage is coming down. Trivia Boy is going to die. That's the first kill of the fight. Shockwave finds 2. Baby Powder's now on the run, but he's only got the Moon Staff. He doesn't have the damage. Rosero's not going to die just quite yet. Papa trying to kite away as well. Vark has a little bit more damage left in the tank. There's the damage coming in. 200 years quite isn't enough, though. Trinity is going to drop a nuke, but POS2 not going to die just quite yet. Rosero's on the chase. He's found another. Shut down onto the pony. Trying to run away now, but Baby Powder's still looking. All of a sudden, WyoBoomers bite back and they get 2.
Yeah, WyoBoomers making a good fight here, but their health bars are very low. This is a tricky situation for them. Baby Powder is still up. Their jungler is super low. He needs to heal up off camps. Looks like everyone will just reset. So good stuff from WyoBoomers. This is a great fight back from them as they do win the team fight. But I got a question, like, why was Vark losing Cleanse the go button? Like, no ultimate was used on Trinity. The Primordial Burst was not down. All ultimates were available. All summoner spells were available for WyoBoomers. There was just one less summoner on Glaive Amethyst side. And they say, okay, I guess that means we Baron now. So, everyone just walks up from WyoBoomers because they saw them walk over there, and Trinity just flashes in to get the zone control on the cage, gets 3 flashes at the start of the fight, literally just 1, 2, 3 flashes away from Glaive Amethyst, and now without the mobility, they can't get away from Rosero. So lovely stuff from WyoBoomers. They need to get out to this Dragon Soul that's coming up in 30 seconds, but again, slowing down the tempo, getting some gold back in their pockets, and showing some fight after their series win in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, and Wyo looking to keep that momentum going right now, channeling the energy that they had against Lotus. This big comeback now is on the table, and this could be the start to it all. The Soul is online. After a big steal from Trinity, you couldn't ask for much more from a Veigar over a wall, and now they have one more to get before Infernal is theirs. Binding goes wide along with the twirl, so you can see every bit of poke matters at these points in the game. Cage gonna be used. That's a big zone control option taken away. Dragon now aggroing. POS2 is still being hit here by Palm Goat occasionally, making sure this one does not reset. There it goes back into the pit. And who opts to take this one now? Rosero gonna pick that up. There's the cage. It's found. POS2. They're gonna pull the trigger with Rosero trying to find the kill, but not able to get anything really. Now he's on the run. Birdman's gone down to Clog, and so has Rosero. WyoBoomers have fallen, and still 5-man strong for Glaive Amethyst. It's a 2-man and a little bit of damage. Triple kill to Clog. He truly is inevitable. Bite down from Papa's gonna make this one 1, but it's not enough. Quadra kill. Give the man the penta over the wall onto Palm Goat. Pentakill for this GP. Clonk goes huge in the fight.
Glaive has no weak side. Necrox, Clonk, Gronk, Zonk, gonna slam it down, go bonk, 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 bonk. 5 members of WyoBoomers will fall to the Pirate. The Drake will go down, the Baron along with it, and my, oh my, another beautiful team fight from Glaive Amethyst. This time it is POS2 who baits in the entire enemy team, gets caught on the Veigar cage, but guess what was in the kit? I believe it was a QSS. I don't know where it went. Oh no, it was the McHale's. The McHale's Trivia Boy on the McHale's gets his mid laner out of trouble. bails out the entire enemy, baits in the entire enemy team. And I think Birdman just died to Klonk's ultimate, like just straight died to the Gangplank ultimate. Meanwhile, Rocero's caught out at the front of the fight, and it's just beautiful stuff from Glaive. They clean it up super easily after a great start. And Klonk, my man, 2 incredible games from him. Now 7-2-7 on this Gangplank after dominating proceedings in game number 1. Glaive Amethyst now in full control, 2 Drakes away from Soul, with the Baron in their pockets on 30 minutes, and fully online here on all of their big members.
And truly a diffie in the top lane this game, because Klonk coming up massive with a pentakill in game 2. That's the momentum you need to close the series out. Just as I was about to get in the Wyo hype train, they had set themselves up for Soul, but Klonk comes up and shuts the dreams down. Vark chunked really low, could get Primordial bursted, but Lantern back to safety will keep him alive. And Glaive Amethyst, man, this team has looked so impressive all series. They've looked impressive throughout the season, and they're showing us why anyone can be their member that they need to carry. POS2 can be that member. Vark can pick up the Aphelios, and Klonk can play weak side, or he can play the GP and come up big late game. That's exactly what you would want from any of your members in Glaive Amethyst. Now, just looking to wrap this one up, put a bow on it, and ship it away to put us at match point.
Yeah, and it's looking all but over here. Nearly a 10k gold lead. Baron to push in the base. One more good fight will do it. And again, everybody online here. 3 items for Aphelios. Both his summoners now available. 3 items for POS2. The Moonstone and the Moonstaff. Double books here for the mid-jungle duo. 3 items, almost 4 on Klonk. Like, this is going to be so hard.
Goodbye. Palm Goat just died to that shockwave, and now the siege is on. No Caitlyn to deny any range here. Palm Goat dead for 35 seconds. Baron empowered siege and Glaive Amethyst, man, they are not messing around, but neither is Trinity as he finds a 1-shot, but Baby Powder's going to go down. Makes it a 2-for-2. Vart looking to clean this one up with the chakrams. The man looks like he's in a chakram bath. He's got that many around him. The Nexus is open. Vark is just going to end this one out. No more shenanigans. 2-0 Glaive Amethyst in semifinals.
Yeah, and it is 2-0. I will say a much better fight here from WyoBoomers. They put on a good early game, particularly that opening couple of minutes from Rosero was just picture perfect from them. They had a good strategy. They clearly have prepped for the series, but prep sometimes just isn't enough. Necrox and Glaive are showing us why they are just so good at these setups, at these micro decisions, and just skill in these team fights. I mean, we see the big engage around the second Drake that turns into an ace. The Mikhails comes out from Trivia Boy, immunes the CC onto POS. They clean up that fight. The pentakill comes out from Klonk Gronk Sonk. Like, WyoBoomers are trying so hard. They are doing everything they can. They changed their draft. They gave their carries, focus. They gave them kills. Palmgoat was 2-0-0 at the start of the game. Didn't get another kill the rest of the game. Like, even as an analyst trying to look at this from a WyoBoomers perspective, it feels so hard to find an answer because it just feels tonight like Glaive are better.
And Palm Goat did 3rd least damage in the game. After a 2-0 start on the Caitlyn, the only lesser damaged members were his support and the enemy support. I really had high hopes for Wyo this time around after that beautiful beginning, but it all burns down for them and now backs up against the wall. They have to do something. They've been in this scenario before. We've seen a game 5 clutch. We've seen them turn things around, but against a team like Glaive Amethyst, that is no easy task. It wasn't against Lotus, but this time it just feels that much more impossible. We'll be back in just a moment with our analyst desk for our next draft. You're not going to want to go anywhere. WyoBoomers are certainly not going without a fight.